Welcome back to Seema Says. It has been such a long time since I've recorded a podcast episode. I was on Telegram and I did a 3-part voice message, and then I thought, you want to know what? I just need to come back to podcasting because this is unacceptable. It's been literally 6 months, I think, since I actually did a podcast. I am so happy to be back. I have a lot to talk to you guys about. I did want to kind of start my podcast game up with like a different topic of conversation today. So I'm going to be doing kind of like an update on what I've been realizing spiritually and how I've been seeing the quantum to work and things like that. So literally my life is always full of change. Like everything changes all the time. And I have had to adjust. I'm like really, really good at adjusting. I'm also really good at not taking things personally or like not making a victim out of myself, even though I probably should. I don't know. I listen to other podcasts of like my favorite creators sometimes, and they go through things in life, and so do I. But like the things that they've gone through they've let them shape who they are. And I've never let a negative experience shape me in any type of way that is like, oh yeah, I'll just commit to doing something drastic in my life because I went through this traumatic experience when I was younger. Like, no, I've healed from anything and everything that I could have possibly went through. And I decided to learn from my experiences. I'm saying this because I was listening to Leo Skeppy, and I just found Leo Skeppy. I love Leo Skeppy, like immediately. And he was describing a situation that happened when he was a kid in which he was raised in a really chaotic environment that was a little bit abusive. And I can relate to some parts of his story. And I was just listening to him and I was thinking like, you know, I would never become somebody that supports ideologies of like unforgiveness and stuff like that, because that's what he talks about. And you know, he's really extreme in his views, and I love him. I support his views even though I don't fully agree with them. But you know, I believe in really, really healing. Like I believe in coming back to God. I believe in accepting your circumstances for what they are and being grateful for what God has decided to give you, especially if it's negative karma. Like you get to burn it early in life, you know, like I know about karma. I know about like all these things that a lot of modern like social media creators don't really know about. And I would love to like one day be able to sit down on a podcast, for example, with like somebody like Leo Skeppy, and you know, get them like masterminding about these things, like brainstorming about, oh yeah, maybe like this situation wasn't what I thought it was. Like maybe I can just decenter myself for a second and see things as how the universe has made them happen for me instead of to me. And then, oh, I'll understand that I'm the operant power of my life and I have created my own reality before I came into this body. But like people don't get that, bro. Like modern social media creators, like everybody's in their own world and in their own bubble, and I am too, but at the same time I can see past like things that happen because I've had to study universal law really, really, really deeply. It's like Shazam. I get so, you know, big on like self-development and stuff like any single time I need to, which is pretty much every few hours, and I love it. Like I'm always like learning something and connecting the dots and whatever. It was actually in 2023 that I realized like I'm a little bit of a genius, and I'm not saying that to like sound cocky. I am also cocky, so just to let you know, I'm like both of those things. But yeah, like, you know, I know all this stuff, right? So I'm like so torn all the time between like, Seema, do you want to be like a teacher? Like, do you want to be a coach on social media? Or do you want to like just be like somebody who is into fashion and modeling and music, babe? Like, which direction do you want to go into? And so this has been the existential crisis of my life. I tell you, like, this has been the main like struggle, you could say, or whatever, when it comes to pivoting my business or growing or expanding in my personal brand. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm so many different things at once. Like, what's next? What direction do I go into next? And I'm more of a thinker than a doer, which is a problem for me, but I do attempt to post consistently and take action and like post on YouTube and like, whatever. But at the same time, like, sometimes all I really want to post is just like a bunch of like TikToks of me like dancing, and like that's it, with like no text, no caption, whatever. Because like sometimes I'm so in my like new like timeline, I don't know, of like just me wanting to be a energy and not solidify myself in the matrix of like, oh, you are one way, you are a coach, you are like F all that, like I'm over it, I'm bored of it. I really am like a pop star, mystic, magician individual, and like I just want to be that. But then at the same time, I'm also really like comedic when I yap. I just want to talk about nothing, and then sometimes I want to teach, so I'm all these things at once, and it's kind of hard. Like one time I uploaded a YouTube video and it was just me like cussing for like 8 minutes and one of the comments was like, what is this foul language? Like, you know what I mean? Like all that. And I was like, bro, damn, like that's interesting feedback, like to see that I appear one way to people is insane work, truly, because like I know how multidimensional I am, but I'm just not aware of like how I appear, because I am aware as I post a video, but then it's only limited to that video. Like I change, like I'm a different like person in another video, whether it be a TikTok or a long form, whatever. And it's because I have all these different like aspects to myself. So why can't a girl be everything? Like let me live, maybe like let me cook, like and I can if I allow myself that freedom. But that's been my biggest struggle of like, oh, haha, am I ready to step out and post vlogs, babe? Like I would love to. And sometimes I think I do, but I have so much more that I've just been sitting on like a hen, on my golden eggs, for real. Because like I've just not been giving myself that freedom to expand into more of who I am. And it's almost as if I'm this like I literally told you, like mystic, but like for Gen Z, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like that's why like I don't talk about this often. I don't think I've ever talked about it, but I was part of like a cult. Oh my god, this is so interesting. Are you ready for this? Sit down. Get some snacks. I was part of like a cult type beat, you know what I mean? Like a little bit, like not too much of that, but like low-key. And I like decided to like not really participate anymore. It's not actually a cult. I'm just saying that for like laughs. It's not actually a cult. It was like a sect of like Vaishnavism kind of. So yeah, I mean, I looked it up and technically yes, it is a cult, but it's not like bad or anything. It wasn't bad. It was very healthy actually. But I did have a negative experience with like, oh god, this is a whole other story. Am I really gonna get into this? I'm just gonna say that I was with a group of people. There we go. That's like much more like PG for like this segment. I'll talk about it in another podcast segment because that's a whole like 45 minutes. But as part of this group, and basically I realized that this group did not allow me to grow and expand into more of who I am, or like have my own sense of style or whatever. And they saw things that I was doing as like bad or like karmy or like just really like not appropriate, which is so funny. Tell me what's not appropriate, you know what I mean? We live in Kali Yuga, number one. Number two, I am who I am. Period. Like, end of story. There's like no like contesting it. You know what I mean? Like, nothing I do, because I know myself so well, like nothing I do is like ever like I have a very strict moral compass, but then at the same time, nothing I do is ever against my soul. Like, I always act in authenticity of who I am. If I want to like walk around in a bikini or like dance around in one, like I will, because like I'm a free individual, and I'm also like God's child. Like, and if religion can't see that the human body is not meant to be sexualized, I don't know what to tell you. Like, then you're not like following, your consciousness is still in the matrix if you really see bodies that way. You know what I mean? So maybe work on yourself a little bit, like to not like be thinking like everyone else, you know? So I would never judge anybody for doing that. Like, if someone wants to do that, like, I love everybody and all their ways of expression. I have nothing bad to say about anybody, any creator, nobody, nothing. And it's like, in religious groups, for some reason, it's just like, it's just seen as the opposite. Like, people are so easy to judge. Instead of seeing unity or working with unity consciousness, it's like, no, we're here and you're there, and you have to come all the way over here in order to be purified and like be closer to God. And it's like, no, babe, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? The purification process is individual. You cannot tell me whether or not I'm purified. That is up for me to know and for you to find out. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of that. And I experienced some religious trauma from that. Like, for a while, I couldn't even say I couldn't even say the name Krishna without like thinking of the people that like basically made me feel bad for being who I am. And that's really hard, you know. I've never felt that way before. And I was also told that like I have to like pray a certain way and just all this stuff. And it's like, spirituality can look different for everybody. And one's relationship with God is extremely personal. You don't know who people are. You don't know how close they are with God. You don't know how awakened one is, you know. But there will be signs. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Anyway, so that was my experience with that. And I'll get into more of that on a separate podcast. But yeah, that's also kind of the reason why I've been like battling with myself quite hard, because truly I'm very expressive in all these different fun ways, but the matrix will try to get you to conform, and the matrix includes religious organizations, by the way. So again, seek to decondition from literally everybody and anybody, including past versions of you. Ooh, that hit home. That's kind of deep, babe. Like, past versions of you. Like, seek to decondition yourself from past versions of you. Do you know what that means? That means that the person you were 5 minutes ago does not exist anymore, and you quantum leapt out that bitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's important for you to understand that you're constantly evolving, constantly shifting timelines. That's how everything exists at once. That's how we rope in new experiences. We don't have to create a time gap or a time lag for new things to happen to us. The rate at which you quantum shift or quantum jump is up to you. You can take a few years to do it, or you can literally do it right now and like get married next week or get rich next week, or whatever you want. You know what I mean? If you believe that you are the new person that has that, like, you have to just become a new person. Like, you have to become a new identity. This is such a cool thing to do, and we do it all the time whenever we adopt an identity of being healthy or being sick, or oh, I have the flu. Like, these are identities, babe. Like, oh, I just spent so much money on XYZ. Like, oh no, like I'm down $70. That's an identity. You just decided that instead of deciding that like you actually are gonna get $140 tomorrow for like no reason, to like make up for your shopping and more, whatever. You know, like, we decide, we set rules for ourselves in our life. If you think this is crazy, try it. And you want to know what? It is crazy. That's my point. That's the point. Like, we are crazy. Like, our power is crazy. Our power is what is crazy. That's what we don't get. we don't get who we are. If we just got who we are, if we just understood who we are and understood our power to manifest things, we would be very careful and conscious with what we focus our awareness on, because we are pure awareness. So whenever we focus on something, it becomes more in our experience. Truly, like, if you think about it, like, you pulled in everything in your life right now that you're experiencing, including Bitcoin. Okay, are you kidding me? You created that shit, you know what I mean, before you came here. Like, we don't realize how powerful, how strong we are. And it's not like, oh no, like, other people benefit from Bitcoin, so it's not just me that created it. No, my friend, you are a singular point of existence. You are the universe experiencing itself. It could have even just taken one person to create, because everyone has a different experience with it. So, like, because everyone has different realities. So even if you, how do I explain this better? Like, let's take the Bitcoin example, right? So, like, you didn't just create Bitcoin. You created Bitcoin and the internet and the fingernails you have and the teeth you have, the eyes you have. You understand? Like, your blend is so unique to you. Your experience blend of reality is so unique to you. So other people may experience Bitcoin differently. So Bitcoin is a singular example of a mix of a bunch of stuff that you put in your vibration before you even took birth here. So other people could have created like the same things just from their vantage point, their eyes, their hands, their hair, whatever. I hope this is making sense. Basically, every person has a unique blend of reality that they created before they took birth, and they are constantly creating. That's why, I'll give you an example. I had like a sinus thing, whatever, like a few months ago. And I kept saying like, oh man, like I still have this thing, like I have, whatever. And I kept saying that. And so it kept like staying, you know what I mean? But the second I like shifted my focus from it, and I even intentionally would say things like, yo, like my sinuses are so clear, like, whoa, like I can breathe really well. Like, oh my God, how that happened so fast. How did that happen? And then it was gone. And like, one thing about me, this is so crazy for me to say, I don't know, but like, I hate sneezing. I know it sounds weird, but I hate sneezing. It's an annoyance. It's a waste of time. Like, like it just distracts me. Like, you know what I mean? Like all these things. And I would sneeze like 4 times in a row. And I'd be pissed afterwards, because like I'm in the middle of working, and I've just like my body's attacking itself, and then like when I stopped noticing that I was sneezing so much, I actually stopped sneezing as much. Do you know what I mean? We are pure awareness. So your awareness of anything is how that comes about. For years before I got braces, I would imagine getting braces because I liked it and I wanted it. And of course, it's never how it looks in the pictures. Like the experience of things is often different than how we imagine them, especially if like we don't get it in the easiest way, But yeah, like. So in a way, like our consciousness attracts everything in, you know what I mean? So this is like really, really cool, because this means that our manifestation ability travels with us, you know what I mean? And so that's why, like, when I hear influencers and creators talk about their life, I just want to, like, especially if I admire them, I just want to be like, yo, like you are the operant power, like, you've actually attracted in everything. You don't have to like worry about, your past or whatever. I don't know. I like people too much. I really have a lot of love for people that, just in general, really. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I'm getting soft. But yeah, anyways, so for a long time, I was like really conflicted. This is my personal experience. I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to post? Like, what kind of direction do I want to steer my personal brand in? And then I realized recently that it's like, hey, you can be all those things at once. Like, you can be sexy, you can be a model, you can sing, you can dance, you can be an artist, you can wear your clothes, you can pose, you can be into fashion, and you could teach, and you could be, just an inspiration, and you could be all these things at once. Shock people's systems, Sima, like, shock them. Like, shock people that don't even know you, like, oh, this girl is like just, she has many heads, you know what I mean? Like, just shock them. And it was hard for me to accept. It took many years for me to first of all be who I am now, but then also accept who I am, because who I am is just, there's no end. I had to really figure out, I had to explore, like, my mind and my everything, the ego, the personality shifting happened a lot through that. I had to explore different identities, and lots of that happened. Super deep stuff, like, truly went down the rabbit hole as far as I could go, and I'm still here, I have a lot of stories that I want to eventually tell. I also went through a lot of mental control. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but a lot of wild stuff has happened for me. And I could not speak about any of it because I was going through it, and I don't think I ever will, really. I don't know, but yeah, so lots of analyzation of, like, I became nothing many times, you could call it ego deaths, but it's a little bit deeper than that. It's like, oh, like, I have powers, like, that kind of thing, I'm not gonna get too deep into it. But yeah, so, and we all do, by the way. But anyway, the most important thing that I've realized in my life is that love and God sits within us, and we just have to remember Him all the time, and we are fortunate to do so, and that's it. Really, we're nothing. Like, I told you, like, I became nothing many times. Like, we are nothing, we are here just to remember Him and come back to Him, form a relationship with Him. That's why I want to tell these social media personalities, like, yo, like, you don't need to become too attached to the identity. Like, you can shift at any point in time. Like, you don't have to be wrapped up in your past struggles. God is within you. Look at what you've built. Look at what you've created. Influence is a gift from God. Use it to spread His mind, because God will reveal to you, like, who He is, and He reveals it in synchronicities. He reveals it in like learning or understanding of universal laws, learning or understanding of personal lessons, healing of trauma, ability to control the personality, the identity. Like, all these things are yoga, and I really want, like, people in general to just know how powerful they are. And, like, anybody that is, like, listening to this, like, I just want you to know how powerful you are. It's almost undescribable. Like I said, it's insanity. Like, it's crazy. Like, our mental power has been purposefully, like, kept shut, so that we, like, don't even tap into, like, 10% of it. It's crazy. The mind goes ahead of us and creates all things. And when I realized that it's not the mind, it's the consciousness, and the mind follows the consciousness. Actually, there's a very good, you can look it up on Google, but there's a very good illustration from the Gita that shows a chariot being drawn by Krishna and Arjuna, and the five five horses, which are the five senses, and it accurately describes the workings of the senses in the human body. And I believe the five horses are the five senses, and then Krishna is the intelligence, and Arjuna is the mind. I think I might be wrong, actually. I need to see later. But Google it. Google will help you better than I can right now, but yeah. So I'm excited to be back podcasting. Thank you so much for listening. I love you. I will be doing I feel like I have a lot of work to do. Like, I feel like I have just so much to do. It's like I haven't started. That's how I feel. And yeah, it's like exciting. I'm also like not fully sure really of my next steps. It's like, you know how like you walk, right? And then the road appears. So that's just what I've been experiencing, very much so, you know? And I'm really grateful. Like, I just want to say, like, to anyone who's listening right now, like, I just cannot believe that, like, you're listening to me. I don't know. Oh my God, I have goosebumps. That's crazy that I just feel that very strongly. Like, how are you listening to me? Like, it's not just that I feel honored. It's like, how, you know? Like, I don't get it. We must all be really, like, special. Like, just, how does that happen? You know, where people meet, right? Like, there's so many people that exist. So, I don't know. I have no words. I don't know how to explain it. It's not easy for me to explain. I think maybe because social media is such a prevalent thing in societies. So, a lot of people, you know, it's like a normal thing, you know, like, oh yeah, you have 11,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube. Like, that's a normal thing. But for me, sometimes I feel like I just landed here. Like, it's not like it's not normal. It's like odd. It's like mysterious, you know? Like, how is it that you are listening? How is it that I'm talking to you? And like, I'm in your life, bro. Like, I'm in your life and you're in mine because like, you manifested this. Like, how do you think you created me in a way, and me interacting with you through this? You know what I mean? Don't undervalue yourself or undermine your power. You literally created me speaking to you right now. That's crazy. I have been selected for you. Like, I'm here for you and you're here for me. It's like energetic exchange. I have literal chills. I'm telling you, nothing is by accident, nothing is for granted, and magic is present in everything. Like, everything is magic. Like, there's nothing that is not magic. Really. Nothing is mundane. Holy shit. Like, nothing is mundane. Like, that's another thing that the Matrix, like, tries to portray. Because, like, a lot of people go to work every day, blah, blah, blah. You do the same thing every day. But, however, the secrets of the universe are sweeter than you could imagine. Nothing is random. Nothing is mundane. You just think it's mundane. Maybe because your consciousness has been programmed in that set way. You've been in that set way for like a while. So like, you know, your body, your mind, you're accustomed to it. But let's say like a big hand picked you up and dropped you. This is what like quantum jumping is. Like, a hand picks you up, drops you in another location, and nothing familiar is around you. It can happen any second. Like, It can happen any second with your decision. Like, the only reason you have the life you have is because you decided it with your blend that we talked about, that you pull in all the time, like constantly. This is why you're above time, because like you actually create it. You know, it's almost as if, like, picture the globe, right? Like, picture the earth globe, like the sphere. Like, you're sitting above it, like dimensionally, like energetically, because our soul is above space-time. It's above the multiverse itself. It's with God already. That's why, like, all our sins are forgiven. Like, we're already enlightened. We just don't know. We're just here to come back to ourselves. You know what I mean? But yeah, imagine you're sitting on top of a sphere, right? So this sphere, this earth globe, is time. Like, literally, the globe represents time. Because you get to control the experience. The experience that you have here on it. That's crazy. Did you hear what I said? You get to control the experience that you have here on it. Like, you are this time. You create time. You create not just time, but the perception of time, the reality that you have within time, the movement of time, the quantum leaps that happen within a set specific time. Wow. Or even like time within those quantum leaps. That's crazy. I'm telling you, we're very powerful. So I love you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed this super out there podcast. If you did, let me know. If you have any ideas on what I could potentially rename this podcast, let me know, because I just have been so creative and I've been coming up with different names and I have a few ideas. But I also want to hear from the listeners, like, what do you think I should rename this podcast, if any? I love you guys. I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.